Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to Laratips. So in today's video, we'll be talking about migrations. So what do you mean by migrations? So migrations are simply the version control for your database. So for your file, the version control is Git. So for the database, the version control is migration. So with migration, what you can do is you can create a database, you can create tables, columns, remove the tables, columns, and also roll back to the previous state. So basically it is a version control for your database. Also, there is one benefit for using migrations, that if a user creates a migration in a project, then he can share that migration and the user in the other end can easily download the code and run the migrations, and both the users will have the same database tables. So without any further delay, let's begin. So first of all, let us look at the Laravel's configuration file and how the migrations and database connections are set up. So we'll first looking at how to connect to a database, and then we'll be looking at the creation of the migrations. Yeah, so I have opened my previous project. So if we look in the project structure, and if we go to config and database, we'll be seeing here a lot of options. Okay, so by default Laravel will be using MySQL, but we can choose you are not forced to use MySQL. You can use other options as well, like you can use SQLite, yeah, and you can use PGSQL, SQL SRV, yeah. So these are the available options, but we'll be using MySQL. Yeah. So how to connect a database? So whenever Laravel tries to connect to a database, then it looks into this default configuration DB connection, and this value it is taken from the environment variable, which is inside the .env file, which is in the root of our project. This is .env file, and if we look at the DB connection, so here it is also a MySQL, and it is a MySQL, so it will go into this array inside these connections, and all these some of the options are already default values and some we can configure. So it's, for example, database URL, DB host, port, everything can be configured, so which can be changed from here. Okay, so for now what Laravel is doing a default database as Laravel, username as root, and password as this. Okay, so now let us try to create a table. Also let us see, by default there are three tables, migration files, that are provided us by Laravel, which is the users table, which can be used for the authentication purposes like login, register, yeah, and password resets table, as well as to if a user forgets, then we can use this one, and also failed jobs. So this is a little bit advanced topic, so we'll be talking about the jobs in our future lessons. Now let's leave it as it is now, and let us create other migrations. Okay, now let us create, there is a command for in the Laravel, php artisan command, to make the migration. So php artisan make migration. So let us create categories migration. Okay, so there is one convention that it is not a must to follow, but if we follow that, then every migration file will look same and it will be easy to debug. Okay, so when we are creating a migration, then we'll do create underscore, and now we are creating a categories table. Okay, categories, create categories table. Okay, the name of the table will be in the middle, and in the front it will be create, and in the end it will be table. And if we hit enter, a migration file will be created, and which will be located here in the migration. If you see here inside the database migrations and this, so Laravel will automatically prefix the generated migration file with the current timestamp. So you can see here the current timestamp is here, and then the table name is here. Okay, and if we go click here and look here, we can see categories, this up method and this down method. Okay, so when this method will get run, I'll tell you that. So basically there are two methods, up and down. Okay, and this is whenever we run php artisan migrate, this method will be run. Okay, there is a helper command in Laravel, so let us run that now. To execute a migration, we have php artisan migrate. Now let's see what happens if we run this. Look, we are getting some error. Okay, so it is saying that access denied for user root at localhost. So if we look at our .env file, then we can see here it is looking at this database Laravel, username root and password no, but the database, this Laravel, is not in our system. Okay, if you look at Laravel, then it is not present. So let us create this Laravel basics database. Laravel basics. So this database is created. Now let us add it here. Okay, and the root password for my machine is p@wrd1. Okay, so this is my password. Now as you can see here, the environment variable has been modified and it is restarting the server. So this is the feature in this Laravel 8. So before the Laravel 8, if we change anything in this .env file, then we had to stop the server and again restart. But from Laravel 8, we don't need to do that. It will automatically track the changes in the env file and automatically restart the server. Okay, now if we go here and see, as you can see here, basics Laravel. So if you are wondering what is this, it is a DBeaver community edition. So you can download it from this website, dbeaver.io/download. I'll be also adding this link just below that like button. Okay, so you can download it from here. So it is available for Windows, Mac, Linux, everything, and it is completely free. And we can manage our database, look into our tables, everything from here. So if I click here, now you can see here there is nothing, no table is here now. And if we see here, there are 4 migration files. Okay, and this is the latest one. So let's see how to execute the migration. php artisan migrate. If we run this command, then this id and timestamp fields will be available here, and these 4 tables will also be available. And this id is the unsigned integer, big integer, and timestamps are the created at and updated at timestamp fields, which Laravel provides out of the box whenever we create any migration. Now let me run this migrate. Now you can see here it has run all those migration tables. So it's running first this users table, then password, field jobs, and then categories table. Now if we see here, refresh and we can see here there are 5 tables, but there are only 4 migrations. So there is one extra table called migrations, and you can see here it includes id, migration, and batch. And if we see here, click on the data, then we can see here the results. So these are the names of all these migration files. Okay, so Laravel uses this migrations tables to track all of our migrations. Okay, we have seen this. Now let's see here in the categories table. Now we can see here it contains id, created at, and updated at. Okay, fields. So this is id, this is created at and updated at. And if we look here inside the properties, and we can see here what are these. Okay, id is the big integer unsigned, and it is not null and auto incrementing primary key. Then created at is a timestamp nullable, and updated at is also timestamp nullable. Okay, so we have created a migration, and from that migration we have created a table with these 3 columns. We can also roll back. Okay, as I said, this migration is a version control for our database, so we can also roll back. So let's say I want to remove this categories table. Now what can I do? PHP rollback. Okay, so it also contains one flag called step. Step is equal to 1. Okay, if we run this step equals to 1, then it will only roll back into 1, but let's not include this and let's see what happens. Okay, if I hit enter, sorry, the command is php artisan migrate rollback, and if I do this, look at here, all these tables have been rolled back, means they all have been deleted. So now if I go into this Laravel basics and refresh, so now you can see here all the tables are gone, but only this now migration table is remain and there is no data here. Okay, because all the tables are rolled back. Let us migrate again. PHP artisan migrate, and again you can see here the data is here. Okay, here you can see all the data. Now it rolled back all our tables and deleted all our tables. Now what if we want only to delete one table? Okay, so we can do it like this: php artisan rollback minus step is equals to 1. So now this will only roll back the latest one. Okay, the create categories table. Now if I hit enter, now you can see here it only rolled back the categories table. And if I come here and refresh the page, so you can see here, so there is no this categories table and all the tables are present here. Okay, now if I again do php artisan migrate, then it will only migrate this categories table, all the other tables will remain same. Okay, because it is tracking all these thing from this migration table. And here you can see there is only users, password, research and field jobs table. Only these three tables are there and this table is not there. So when we run the migration, it will see that this thing is not here, this create categories is not here, so it will only migrate this. Okay, let's see. Now if I refresh here, you can see here the create categories table row is available here, and if I refresh the page, then here the categories table is now present. Yeah, okay, so we can also roll back and migrate using one single command, so I'll show you that. Okay, if I say php artisan, also sorry, I would like to say one thing, that if we roll back, every data will be deleted. Yeah, so keep that in mind. So always before rolling back, you have to keep in mind that your data will be lost, so we should be very careful before doing any rollback. Okay, so now what we can do is php artisan refresh. Okay, if we run this command, then it will roll back all the changes and it will again migrate. So basically these commands are rollback and refresh are useful for local development, not in the production environment. Okay, so if I hit enter, sorry, I even forgot the migration command, migrate : and if I hit here, yeah, you can see here, so it is saying that rolling back, roll back, and again all those are rolled back and again it has migrated. And if we see here, so all the tables will be available here. Yeah, so it does roll back and again migrate. Okay, there is also another command to do the same thing, like php artisan migrate. This will drop all the tables, so it will not roll back, it will directly drop all the tables and then it will migrate it again. Okay, so if I hit enter here, then you will see here, look at it says dropped all the tables. Okay, so it is not rolling back, it is directly dropping all the tables and then again migrating all the tables. So if you see here, then everything will be here. So now we have seen the migration commands. We will be seeing some methods to add columns in our table. Okay, in the categories table, let's say now we need name field. Okay, what we can do is table string name. So this string is a varchar. By default the string is a varchar and it contains 225 characters by default. Okay, now if I say, okay, let's say this, okay, there are table, and let's say integer and active. Okay, let's say active can be either 1 or 0, so we can keep it integer, or also we can keep it as tiny integer. Yeah, we can keep, because 1 and 0 will be very only 2, so we can keep it as tiny integer. Now I'll show you by running the command. So we can run the migrate fresh command. Yeah, now we have only this id created add and updated add. Okay, now if I run the fresh command and if I refresh here, now you can see here it has id name active, id name active, created add and updated add. And if I look at the properties and if I refresh here, and you can see here by default the name, it is the string is giving us the varchar 255. Yeah, and then tiny integer is the tiny integer. Yeah, as you all know that. Yeah, after we run this migration, we are getting these columns. So there are a lot of helper methods like this string tiny integer. There are a lot of methods, so we can see it in the Laravel documentation. If we go here, columns and creating columns, then you can see here all these things we can create, like boolean chart, date time, timestamp, decimal, enum. Yeah, we can also create JSON. So many database columns are supported, so you can look here and you can create your own. So now I'll show you. Suppose let's say you don't want 255 characters, you only want 100 characters, then you can define it like this in the string. Yeah, and if I migrate fresh again and look in our database, and if I refresh here, so you can see it is only varchar 100. Okay, so these are how you change the add the columns. And now how to modify the columns. Okay, suppose we created a name but it is not nullable, but suppose let's say we want some of the field as nullable, then what to do? So we can make this active field. Okay, currently this is not nullable, as you can see here it is not null, it's checked, so it is not a null. Yeah, how to make it nullable? We can make it nullable as like this, nullable. We can chain the methods like this. Yeah, and okay, let's see the change. And if I migrate fresh again, come here and refresh the page, and here you can see here not null is gone, so our active column is now nullable. We can also give some default value like this, default, let's say 0. Yeah, so currently here you can see here the default is nothing here. Yeah, and if I php artisan migrate fresh and refresh here, then you can see here the default is 0 and it is nullable as well. So you can change the methods like this and add nullable defaults value. Yeah, and those are also given here, like modifying the columns. Yeah, here you can see, so not this one, column modifiers. Yeah, here you can see here, so here unsigned. Yeah, use current, nullable, there is also comment. Yeah, and also unsigned is also, let's say the tiny integer, it is not currently unsigned. Now if you want to make it unsigned, then you can call unsigned like this, or there is also one unsigned tiny integer. You can call this method also, it will internally call that unsigned method. Okay, this is how you change the columns. Okay, after that also now we can modify the columns. Now we have modify the column, so which is like this. Let's say you want to change the name. Yeah, suppose let's say this is the name. Now let's say you want to change it to title. Now you cannot do this in the same file because you are creating a categories here. So if you write name or title anywhere, it is always created. Yeah, and let's say you did a lot of work and there are a lot of migration files, and in the future we don't want this name. So all the other, so many migration, other migration files are having the name as this as a title, and only this table has it as a name. So we want to make things consistent and we want to change it to the title. Okay, so let's think about that scenario. And there are a lot of migration files. Let's say create categories, post, comments, reviews, everything, and after that you need to change this. So in a production environment, you cannot just go to this migration file and just modify here and change. Yeah, so what we can do is we can create a new migration for that. So what we do is, previously we created a migration file which created a table. Now we want to modify the data in the table, column in the table. So what we can do is php artisan migration create php artisan make migration. Now what we can write is add, or we can give any name. Suppose let's say we want to change name to title, change name to title column. And we can give another flag like table, which table we want to modify. The table name is this categories. So before we didn't give anything, so it created the categories. So looking at this that I told the convention, like this create categories table, and looked in the between and created this categories table for us. Now in order to modify table, we can give any name, so there is no any convention. So we can write change name to title. So if we want to add any other columns, then like add name column to this table. So we can write this. So change name to title column in categories table. We can end it with a table, so we can follow this convention. And giving a dash table categories will not create another table as categories, but it will help us modifying the current category. So if I hit enter, so it will create another migration here. So as you can see here, now there is something different, schema table. So before it was schema create. In the down method it was drop if exists. So whenever we roll back, this down method was called and it dropped the categories. Okay, so now there is a new migration file, and this migration file is not in this migrations table. It is not in this migrations table. Okay, so whenever we run migrate, then only this new migration will run, other will not run. Okay, so after that what we want to do is we want to change this name to title. So what we can do is here, table string, sorry, not string, you can do is rename column, and you can give the name. So so from what thing you want to change, from name to title. And this thing can be found in this renaming column section of our. So, and there is one thing that these enum columns cannot be renamed. Also there are only some of the database columns that type that can be changed. So here is the list, so you can see here in the documentation as well. Okay, so now what we did is we renamed the name to the title. So whatever we do here in the up section, we have to do opposite in this down section. So previously in the categories table, when we created a table, Laravel automatically did that for us. So drop if exists the categories, it will drop the categories. It is creating a category table and it is dropping the categories table here. So now what we are doing is here renaming the name to the title. So we'll do just opposite here, renaming title to name. Okay, so this will run whenever we run the PHP Artisan migrate, and this will run whenever we run PHP Artisan rollback. Okay, now let's see what happens if we run PHP Artisan migrate. Now you can see here there is an error. Okay, this error is because we haven't installed a package. So in order to perform these operations like renaming and changing anything like string. Before it was, let's say, 255, string name 205. Now we want to change it to 50 character length. Then we have to do it like this. And to perform these changes in the column level, we have to download a package. Okay, so it's Doctrine Deval. I may have mispronounced it. So how we can do is composer composer install composer Deval and hit enter. So sorry, not install, composer require. So it will install this package, and after this package has been installed, then we can perform those actions in our column. We can easily modify our columns. So the package is now installed. So now let's run the same command again, php artisan migrate. Okay, now you can see here the migration has been run successfully. And if we go here and refresh here, so you can see here the migration row is here. And if we go and refresh here, then if we go into the categories table, and you can see here it is changed to title. Before it was name, and now it is changed to title. Yeah, so we can also drop the column. We can also drop the column. Yeah, if we want to drop only one column, then we can add it in as a string, and if we want to drop multiple columns, then we can add it as array. So as you can see here, for SQLite, the dropping of the database is not supported. Yeah, multiple columns. So you can do these things. These are a little bit advanced, like this morph, soft delete. So we'll be also looking at these in our future videos, not in the migration part 2 or 3 like that, but in a real life scenario. Okay, in a project. Also, after that, what we can do is we can add indexes to our columns. Okay, so how to do that? So if we see here currently in our database, so in the indexes section, so there is currently only a primary key. Okay, there is no other indexes. Now we want to add index to one of our keys. Okay, so let's see how to do that. So now let me roll back this. Now okay, let us see one thing. So currently what we did was change the name to the title. Now let's see, roll back. Okay, php migrate rollback step equals to 1, and if I hit enter here, so now it has been rolled back. Okay, now if I go ahead and see in this column section, and if I refresh here, now you can see here it is converted to the name. Okay, so this can be done. Now let me remove this table, I don't need it. Yeah, and I think and that is also removed in this migrations table. Yeah, because we run the rollback. Okay, I have removed this. Now if we go here, and now let us add index. Okay, now index, we have to just append index method here. Just append the index method. Now let us again go ahead and see here, there are no indexes here. Now if I go ahead here, php artisan fresh, so it will drop all the tables and again migrate. Now if I refresh here, now you can see here it has created a index and it has given a name by itself. Okay, the convention is this: the table name, yeah, and the column name and underscore index. Okay, so the convention is like this. So Laravel will automatically create the name. So we can also give a name, yeah, like this. Let's say we can give a name as, let's say, cat name. Yeah, if we do it like this and run this migrate fresh again, and if I refresh here, now you can see here the index name has been changed. So we can also change the index name. Yeah, So we can also make so suppose let's say we want to make one column unique. So now we can make it unique in the database level. Yeah, so whenever we try to store in the database, let's say we have previously stored and there is a name called category A. Now if we again try to store category A in this table, then it will give us error because it is a unique. So let us run this again and see here. If you refresh here, now you can see here categories, name and unique. Yeah, so it will give us a different index, and here the unique is checked. So before the unique wasn't checked, and now the currently here the unique is checked. Okay, so this is how we give an index. Okay, this is how we give indexes. And now we can also add a foreign key index as well. Okay, now let's say there are categories. Yeah, now let's say there are categories can have many posts. Yeah, blog post. So let us create that table. PHP artisan make artisan create, let's say blogs table. Okay, create blogs table. So it will create a new migration file. You can see here. So it will automatically add this create blogs and drop blogs, yeah, for us if we follow this convention. Now a blog can have, let's say, table string as a title. Yeah, now let's say table long text as a body or description. It is a long text in the MySQL. And then what it can have also is table unsigned integer as category ID. Now this category ID is a foreign key to this categories table. Okay, now if we run it like this, let's say php artisan migrate, then this table will be created. Okay, blocks table will be created. Now if we go here and refresh the page, the blocks table is created. Yeah, so and if we look in the column section, they are all there. And if we go in the foreign key section, so there is nothing. So since we haven't created any foreign key, so there is nothing. So how to add a foreign key? Let's see, table foreign. So this is the foreign column and it references ID on categories table. Yeah, so foreign key, the foreign key category ID references ID on categories table. So you can add a foreign key like this. So you can also key like on delete cascade, yeah, or on delete set null, or on you update. You can do all this here. So let's say on delete, let's say on delete cascade. Yeah, for now. Okay, now let us run this migrate fresh command again. And if we go ahead and refresh the page, now you can see here it has created a blogs underscore, this is the table name, column name, and now foreign. All the foreign keys will have it will end with underscore foreign. Okay, so these are the conventions. So you saw that similar convention in the index in the index case as well as in the unique. So unique, in the unique it will end with underscore unique. In the index it will be end with underscore index, and for foreign it will end with underscore foreign. So this is a very long long method of doing it. So in the previous like Laravel up to 7 we had to do this. Yeah, currently Laravel it also support this syntax. So we have to define the column and again write this long syntax to make it foreign key. So by default, whenever Laravel creates any table, they are always big integer, unsigned big integer. So Laravel also has provided us a nice API of defining the foreign key. Yeah, so what we can do is foreign ID. Yeah, we can do foreign ID and we can add constraint here. If we do this, then the foreign ID. So Laravel will look this category ID, so it will look at the plural form of this. Okay, this underscore ID, it will ignore this underscore ID and look at the plural form of category, which is categories. So it will look in the categories table and it will add the index to that categories table like this. Yeah, and after this we can call this on delete cascade here. Okay, and if I run this again, now you can see if I refresh the page, so it is on delete cascade here, it is everything. So if I refresh here, so nothing has changed, so all the things are same. So we can do the same thing with this smaller, this nice and good API, nice syntax. Okay, now sometimes we also may need to make this foreign column as nullable. So for that, what we have to do is we have to add this nullable before this constraint. Okay, so now we have to add it here, nullable here, and then only it will work, otherwise it will throw an error. So if I refresh the page, so if I see here in the columns currently there is this not null is checked, so it is not a null. Okay, and you can see here it has also created this big integer unsigned. Okay, category ID, as this foreign ID will create this big integer unsigned. And if we look inside here, you can see here, if we go here inside, so it will create type big integer. Yeah, column name is the path that we have, so passed, so it will not be auto increment and it will be unsigned. So sometimes it's good to look inside those methods, so what they do inside, so that will understand what type of columns it is using, and this is using a big integer as well. Okay, so if I run this, and so you can see here it is checked here, and if I refresh here, okay, now you can see here it is unchecked, so it is now nullable. So we can make a foreign key nullable by adding a nullable, prepared like appending a nullable in the foreign ID method. So we can change this method. So in most of the cases, Laravel provides us this nice API, chainable API, so we can chain multiple methods and those will be automatically applied by the Laravel for us. So it's pretty nice. Also, thank you for subscription, since we have already crossed 100 subscribers. So as you can see here, and you can see here we have already crossed 100 subscribers, so thank you very much for that. So recently, maybe 3 or 4 days ago, we crossed 50 subscriber, and now we are just in a span of 4 or 5 days we have again gained 50 subscribers. So that's all because of you. That support from you is really great. Thank you very much, guys. And I think it's about a month that I have started uploading the videos on YouTube. So you guys are awesome. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much. Also, I have changed the logo. So what do you think about this logo? So let me know in the comment section below. And this art, this cover image, so let me know what do you think about this image. So it's nice or it's not nice, it's looking good or not. So I need your opinion on that. So if you want to give some opinion, your opinion on this, then please help me out. So thank you, guys. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.